Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and I am here to once again review Your Honor. And I am reviewing Season 2, Episode 8. And this episode, obviously, after last week, which was a masterpiece, A-plus episode, I knew that this episode was going to take a drop, which there's nothing wrong with that, because in order to have those big episodes, you have to have episodes like this and like early episodes of the season, because it's all a build-up. I think the only hard part is being a reviewer, because when you review the episode and you don't act like it's the greatest thing in the world, it'll make it sound like a little negative when it isn't, Whereas if you're just watching it week to week and you're a normal person who doesn't review, it's just like, whatever, I can't wait for next week, whatever. So this episode, for starters, I wonder what will happen to that receptionist girl at the hotel. That just popped into my head right now. It feels like a couple of storylines like that, like a couple little small detail storylines. I would like to know like what happens with those, because this whole episode, it was a lot of like similar scenes where you had Lee, and I will say too, it was refreshing to see law stuff again on the show. It was refreshing to see the scenes with her and Eugene, and then her and the other lawyer, the district attorney guy. That part was a good change of pace, but it did feel like there were a couple of things they could have added in there, like the thing with the receptionist. I mean, that was a pretty big deal, and a lot of that has to do with Gina, the character of Gina. Her character, she started off this season to where I thought she was going to become like one of the main villains, and I thought that Jimmy was going to be painted as more of a sympathetic character. She would be the ruthless one, and then Jimmy would die, and it would be sad, and then either she would die and that would be satisfying, or she would still be alive and she'd just be this ruthless person who's still around. But as the season has gone on, it has become less about Gina specifically and more about Jimmy realizing his potential as an actual gangster, because they really fleshed out his character and made it to where before the season he really wasn't a real hardcore gangster, and now he's finally entered like a different stage where he's doing gangster stuff finally, although he hasn't really done anything with his bare hands after that one thing that he did 2 episodes ago. Or wait, yeah, that was 2 episodes ago, right? Like anyways, that's getting off topic. Now I'm gonna make myself look bad. Anyways, the episode starts off with an interesting conversation, and keep in mind, I'm not gonna recap the entirety of the episode. I just wrote notes down as I was watching it. If you just want an overall review and my grade, because I know a lot of people, especially in terms of like TV episode reviews, all they care about is the grade, and they don't really care about the actual discussion, which is why when I reviewed this other show a couple of years ago, even if I would give the episodes good grades, I would get dislikes on the videos. like 9 to 10 dislikes and then like 3 likes, even if I gave an episode like an A. So, it just shows like you just can't please anyone, and I don't really care regardless. I'm just stating an observation. Overall, I thought this episode was pretty good, and I liked how there were certain things that we saw in it that we haven't seen thus far in the season. It felt a little bit of like a spotlight episode on 2 specific characters, and it also felt like a break. There needed to be a break in between the last episode and then whatever happens the next 2 episodes. So it had a couple of issues, but other than that, it was pretty good. I would give it this is tough actually. I'm really having trouble deciding a B or a B plus. I think I'll have to give it a B. I'll give this episode a B. It wasn't a bad episode, but it wasn't a fantastic episode. It did feel a little bit like there were some things in the episode that weren't thoroughly. I don't know. We'll talk about it because you'll understand when I talk about it. So Michael he's talking to Olivia again, and he finally tells her to fuck off. Like the whole season, that's what he's been doing figuratively. He's just like, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. Like every single episode, that's the entirety of his scenes with her. Well, this episode, it's just a literal fuck off. Like that was pretty funny, but pretty strange at the same time. Because I don't know, it's like he's been telling her that the whole time, and it's like just because he says F off, that's not like a higher degree of telling someone to F off figuratively. Like if you tell someone to leave me alone, that isn't lesser than saying F you or F off. Like the word fuck, it really isn't that impressive anymore because there's tons of songs that use the F word like 1,000 times. And like even in my videos where I talk, I use that word 1,000,000 times sometimes. And it really isn't that effective as much as they wanted it to kind of seem like. And the way that he said it too, it was like they were trying to make you go like, ooh. Did you see what he just told her? Ooh. Actually, I'll give this episode a B plus because I think I gave episode 2 a B plus or something, and this was better than episode 2. So then we had Gina, and she was driving along, and she ran into Big Mo as she was admiring her stupid club, which, let's be honest, she doesn't even care about the club. Like, they talked about in last episode, all you care about is your club, or that other episode, all you care about is your club. And it's like, let's be honest, the only thing she cares about in the club is her lame, generic love interest, Janelle. That's the only thing that she cares about. The club is nothing more than like a symbol of her affection for her love interest, because she can spotlight her love interest and, have all these people come to see her sing and everything, and, she can always watch her every day, and, she doesn't give a fuck about her stupid club. Anyways, Gina runs into her, and that definitely was a tribute to the movie Psycho, which, that's been done before, but I thought that was really cool. And really, it was telling you that this episode was going to be a spotlight episode about Gina and Big Mo. And I felt like that was a good decision. I mean, I felt like Big Mo's character has probably been the weakest out of all the main characters this season. She hasn't really had any good moments, in my opinion, until this episode. And then, well, actually, did she have any good moments this episode? Like, she's good at acting. I think that the actress does a really good job. It's just that the character doesn't really have a lot of great moments because she's a bad guy. You know, you're not supposed to like her as a person, so that should also be stated. But I love the fact that this episode decided that since they were taking a bit of a break and they were, you know, having a slower, more peaceful episode, that they would spotlight these two characters that haven't really been appreciated a lot in the series and in the season until now. So Eugene is finally in prison. Yay! That's what I wrote. And then Lee gives Eugene the decision to decide on his own sentencing. LOL. That whole thing, she was talking to Eugene, and it seemed like it could have been a good scene, but they cut the scene off before it even ended. So she tells Eugene, think of a number from 1 to 10 or something. She doesn't say like any numbers, but she wants him to think of a number of what he wants, how many years he's willing to be in prison, as if it's his choice. And we don't get an answer. Like, I legitimately wanted to know, how many years does Eugene think that he deserves to go to prison for killing Adam on accident? Because even though he killed him on accident, he still killed someone. And the someone turned out to be someone innocent who did not deserve to be killed at all. So how many years does he think that he deserves? Let's be honest. He thinks that he doesn't deserve any years at all. You know why? Because in another episode this season, he says, "There's nothing for me in New Orleans. There's nothing for me here anymore." And it's like, what the fuck? Like, he just wants to do his drawings, and just leave this guy alone and let him do his drawings. I mean, that's another thing too. They should have had like a storyline where he became like a comic book artist at this point, because that's all he's doing is just drawing. Like, they don't even really talk about it and say like, why do you like to draw, Eugene? Or they don't really even make a point to like get into that. It's just like his character quirk now. He draws. Don't you know he draws? You know, it's and let's take this time to talk about a movie where they do go into the drawing. And there's this Barbra Streisand movie called Nuts, and it's about this girl who's she's got to have a competency hearing before she goes to trial, because she killed one of the people that she slept with when she was a prostitute, because he was trying to kill her and rape her as well. And she draws a lot, and she draws all the characters in the movie. And there's a point to that, because at a certain point, the lawyer is looking at her drawings, and he's seeing that there's something off about these certain characters, and that her drawings are telling him things, and they're signaling to him what he should talk about, what he shouldn't talk about, and, that there are secrets that are pivotal to the movie and to the story. So in that case, the drawings were very important. And in this case, the drawings were very important as well. because what happens? That detective, he picked up the book full of drawings, and he's got those drawings. And what about the whole thing where he was in school too? Like he had a new name, he had a new life, and there were pictures in his locker, and so that would all be discovered, and then. Oh, Eugene. Oh, Eugene. Like, Lee comes over and she's like, I brought you some paper, but I didn't bring you any pencils because they're too sharp and pointy. And he's like, wow, thanks. And he's so excited to draw. And it's like, what's he going to draw now? Like, he's already drawn all of his confessions and all of the things that he did and all the stuff that he went through. Like, what's he going to draw now? Like, it's a weird, like, sidetrack to go on, but they've made that such a key part to his character that he can draw. And so, yeah. And then we have this whole discussion with Lee and the district attorney. And Lee, she's really good at acting, and I love seeing her. That's another reason I give this a B+, is because her acting really is a highlight of the show. But she's pretending like she doesn't know that Eugene killed Adam. And she started off to where it was like, okay, we have to say he allegedly killed Adam because, that's because it hasn't been decided yet. But she starts to talk about it like she's fully convinced, or she's dead serious that Eugene might not have killed Adam. Like, she's like, did you read those theories on Reddit, Mr. District Attorney? The ones where Coomer5669 said that, maybe Eugene didn't kill Adam because the space alien came down and did it? Like, that's to the point of where she was getting at. Like, she's like, but the police... The police, like, she just straight up, like, that was a weird moment. Like, you can really see that her character has changed. She has become a lot more unhinged and weird, and I don't know if that's an acting choice, because it's a really good one, or if it's just the writing that's bringing it out, but that was weird. And then it's really funny because the district attorney is asking if Eugene will give any gang information because he's a gang member. And Lee is like, but wait a second, he is not a gang member. The Grinch has never been a part of any gang. And then he's like, you know what, Lee? The last play after he killed Adam, allegedly, he was seen at a Desire Gang hideout by who knows who. Like, who was that, by the way? Like, is there any video surveillance of that, of him being at a Desire front place, which was later attacked in the episode? And then he's like, and then he stayed at Little Mo's apartment for a while, and it's like, oh, how do you know that, too? A lot of, like, how do you know that? How do you know that? And he's like, what more does he have to do to be a quote-unquote gang member? Like, he is associated with the Desire Gang. Like, whether he likes it or not, he's probably seen a lot of stuff that he could talk about or something. I bet that he could say something helpful. But that was a pretty funny line. Like, what more does he have to do, Lee? What more do you want? And then, since Eugene told Big Mo she doesn't care about family, Big Mo is planning on marrying Janelle, because then she can be quote-unquote family. I thought that was funny. That she made that decision right after Eugene gave her that rant. And it's like, well, if I have this wife, I can call her family. And then we have another episode with Lee and the district attorney. She lambasted Michael in the season 1 finale, which that finale was trash, and it's still trash. She lambasted him. She acted like he was the devil. She acted like he was the worst person in the world. He's just, oh my God, he's so bad. But what does she do? She blackmails the district attorney by saying that if he doesn't go light on Eugene, she's going to give up the fact that Michael rigged that trial, which should tell you that Elizabeth probably doesn't know that Michael did that. So that's pretty interesting. But why would he be in jail? What? If nobody except a couple of people know that Michael did that, then what reason did they give for him being in jail? But she blackmails the district attorney by saying, if I tell the press about Michael, then all of the cases that you guys fought in court are all going to have to be retried, and they're all going to have to be redone. And so she wants to have Eugene be charged with negligent homicide and get 10 years, which will probably be 3 years if he behaves well. Which, let's be honest, is he going to behave? Like, is he going... Because you never know with Eugene. Like, he could just slip and slide his way around the prison and do something bad. And it'll be like, oh, I didn't do anything. You never know with Eugene. He's very sneaky. He's very slippery. He's very devious and sinister. He's a sinister character, and he's capable of committing atrocious acts against the fictional humanity and your honor, because he doesn't have anything left to lose. He already lost his whole family, and then he lost little Mo because he never cared about him to begin with. I mean, let's talk about that too, like the fact that he had this new mother. She wasn't his real mom, but she was a decent person. And then he just said F her. He didn't even say goodbye to her. Probably thought that her cooking sucked. And then and then he just let little Mo probably get executed. Never cared about him after all he did for him. Like, the only person he cares about is Lee, which I think is probably because he probably has a fantasy that when he becomes 18, he's going to get to Netflix and chill the first season of Your Honor. No, wait, no. He will Netflix and chill the Fear Street trilogy, which if you Netflixed and chilled those terrible, awful agenda movies, I would literally like put some Bill Cosby shit in the drinks, like not in just her drink so that I could do something bad, but put them in both drinks so that I wouldn't have to be put through the miserable experience of rewatching the Fear Street trilogy on Netflix, and that would be my version of Netflix and Chilled, starring Eugene with Lee. Yeah, like, where is her character even at? Well, her character, Lee, she doesn't even want to be a lawyer anymore. She's just there for plot convenience for Eugene, so that she can, help out Eugene. And it's just really weird how they haven't explained what she's been doing. I thought I heard something about her possibly doing wills. And so that would lean to me that maybe she's just been doing wills for the past year or whatever. Like, I guess that's an answer for what she's been doing. That's not really an answer to me. But she is really, Lee is Eugene's bitch. I mean, if you think about it, her entire life in existence right now revolves around Eugene. It's like, after all of the things have run out, after all of the conveniences and all of the plot holes that have allowed him to escape through the system to just get this cozy cell, after all that, he doesn't have to worry because he's got Lee. It's not Christopher Lee, it's Lee. So Olivia, she comes back for another pointless spinning the wheel scene where she wants to talk to somebody. And she's like, Michael, why won't you help me, Michael? Help me understand, Michael. Like, what? Just why won't you do things for me? I just want this one thing, Michael. Just this one thing with the Baxter family. You know that the Baxter family is bad. And Michael's like, I don't care. F off. And then she's like, okay then. I want to talk to Fia. And he's like, F off. And that's the scene. Bravo. Bravo, Your Honor. Bravo, everyone. Bravo those people. Like, that was a brilliant scene. Not. And so halfway through the episode, I predicted that Big Mo's girlfriend was going to die, which did not happen. Which is sad because Big Mo deserves karma for what happened to that little boy. She's definitely going to pay somehow this season, I believe. And I thought this episode, from the way that things were playing out, especially, I think that the IMDb summary, or this might be the official Showtime summary for episode 8, is that things take a dark turn at the opening night of the club, the revamp of the club. I didn't see any dark turn. I mean, I'm serious. Like, did I miss something? Like, was there a dark turn? Like, I never saw that at all. So Gina has now made a big decision. She is mad that Jimmy has become a man, and so she is doing the typical 2023 thing, which is she's trying to become a man as well. And and she's trying to she did some stuff. Let's see, like, there was this funny little scene where she she's really kind of been spinning her wheels throughout the season because she's all talk and no action, and they even say that at the beginning of the episode. But then Big Mo says, no, she's bite. She's all bite or something. Like, okay, I can't wait to see that. she has this little scene where she meets somebody who went to the grief counseling group at this cafe. And I swear to God, I've been watching Leave It to Beaver, which I really, really love Leave It to Beaver. And I've been rewatching the series. And, it's not all perfect, but it's pretty near perfect. And there'll be these scenes where Beaver is talking to someone, and he's trying to get them to give him permission to do something bad under the guise of misrepresenting what he's going to do. And that's kind of what happens in this scene. It's like straight up like a Leave It to Beaver 1960s sitcom scene. And it's basically, it felt like to me like she was getting that excuse from the grief counseling woman to go do something bad. And she was like, ugh. And, she definitely got turned on when she was having this conversation, like she was going to do something really messed up. And I was getting excited because they talked all about this dark turn that happened, and I didn't see any dark turn. And she goes across the street behind Jimmy's back, and she gives Big Mo an expensive bottle of alcohol. Probably costs like $20,000. Probably. So it was a little bit of a misdirection there. And we later kind of find out that, I guess, her plan, I was really confused, honestly. I was really kind of like, I don't understand what's going on. I do like the chemistry that Gina and Big Mo have as enemies. Like, if this episode had been written a little bit better and a little bit tighter and had a little bit more going on, then I would have called it like an A episode, because they have a great back and forth. I really do like the scenes where they're in a room together and you don't know what's going to happen. And I will say that it's funny because, wait, see, I wrote this note. Where is this? What did I... What, wait, how does that make any sense? What? Okay, I guess I'll try to explain what I wrote in these notes. So at the beginning of the season, she was very mad, Gina, and it really seemed like she was going to do some heinous shit, like even halfway through. But then she just kind of stopped, and she didn't really do anything. And it was sad because she had a really good moment, and I think it was like episode 2 or 3 where she's like, I'm going to stick to the angry stage of grief, and I'm just going to be angry, and I'm going to use my anger to take out whatever I need to take out of people or whatever. And she doesn't really do anything, but the final instigation for her to do something is like is Jimmy and then another person, and it felt a little bit like, I kind of wish that she did this like earlier on or something. I don't know, like, I don't know how to explain it, honestly. It made more sense to me when I wrote it while I was watching the episode. And Janelle, she's a good singer. Not a very good character, but she's a good singer, so I can see why they hired her. If they just hired her based off of her singing capabilities, then yeah, she's a pretty good singer. She's a little bit better than some singers, but she's not as good as other singers, if that makes any sense. Because I don't really pay attention to singers. I mean, if you asked me, like, Marco, who are the top 10 female singers, I would be like, I don't know. That's what I would say. And then they have this whole misdirection thing while Janelle is singing and they're all celebrating. There are different Desire Gang buildings that are being hit. And I believe that Little Mo was involved in doing that. Or it might have been, they had this thing earlier in the episode where this one guy in the Desire Gang, there was like a finger on the ground or something, and he picked it up, and then he walked off screen. Like, I had no idea what that was about, but I will try to put together that was some sort it was some sort of a clue. That was so they didn't really show it or anything, because like this guy, he looks down at the ground and it looked like a little finger or maybe like a little genitalia, and he picks it up and he's like, what the fuck is this? Or he says fuck this or fuck that, and then he walks off screen. He walks off screen, and presumably he walked off screen. So there are two versions, I'm thinking. Either he walked off screen and Gina hired him somehow, which I don't know how that happened. They didn't show it, so I'm not going to assume. Or Little Mo just so happened to hit the building at the same time that this event was going on. Like, I really wasn't sure. Did Gina do that or not? Like, was that the whole dark turn that they were talking about in the summary? Because it really wasn't dark. Like, the only dark turn was that it was darker in the night. Like, it was a later time at night, but that's about it. So I'm confused about that. Oh, okay, here it is. Olivia, her main goal in life is to talk to people. She has been surprisingly ineffective as a villain. It's really funny and weird how that Magnum Force police group came out of nowhere in the season, and they were better villains. But Olivia, who's been around since episode 1 of season 2, she's not a good villain. And I know what you're thinking, like, Marco, she's not a villain. That's kind of what they advertised this season as her being. Like, that was kind of like the whole draw of the story, was that she was going to take Michael out of prison and force him into doing some bad shit to put the Baxter family away. And she has been a terrible villain. So when Big Mo discovers the whole hit building, I can't remember what they called it. I can't remember. I want to say the name of it, but I don't know if it's the right thing. She goes there, and there's a cringeworthy misunderstanding, like another misunderstanding between her and Janelle. Janelle walks in, she sees everything that's going on, and Big Mo yells at her. And it's like, oh no. Oh no. Don't go, Janelle, don't. We really care a lot about your character. Don't. Like, I gotta be honest, like, it's really bizarre, too, because she acts like she's shocked, and she acts like she's like really disturbed at what she sees, and it's like Janelle knows who this woman is. She knows that she's a gangster. She has some sort of an understanding where as long as Big Mo doesn't talk about all the evil, disgusting, inhumane things that she does, then Janelle will still be her biatch. And yet, in this moment, she acts like she doesn't even know what she does or anything. Like, it's really funny. It's really weird. And I guess they stole the engagement ring, and that was a part of it. Or I can't really remember if they did or didn't, because they showed it really briefly, like them opening up the thing, and I, for some reason, I couldn't tell if they did or didn't. I think they did. I mean, obviously you would steal an engagement ring, because that would cost some money. And so I guess Gina's plan was misdirection in the hit that she committed. That really didn't feel like the own that they wanted it to feel like for her character, honestly. Excuse me. Gina places all the blame on Jimmy about Rocco's death, even though it isn't his fault. This makes you feel sorry for Jimmy a little bit. I mean, they had, I guess, it was a pretty good scene. It was one of the better scenes of the episode, where I guess her arc this episode is that she is just gonna go against Jimmy's wishes. Like, going forward, like, it doesn't seem like she's really thinking about the consequences of her actions. All that she's thinking about is, Adam is dead, so she can place all the blame on Rocco's death on Jimmy, and then she can use it as an excuse to do evil shit and not care. Finally, Eugene has a scene where Lee comes back to him, and he's like, "What you got for me, Lee? What'd you bring back? Did you get me some Taco Bell?" And she's like, "No, I got you 10 years. And he's like, "That's not good enough. They gotta hear my side of the story. They gotta hear Eugene's side of the story." Like, how do we know that Eugene won't use this trial as a masterfully planned escape tactic where he slithers away out of the courtroom? I mean, you guys remember Ted Bundy. You remember how he magically escaped these courtrooms and things. Well, because they were helping him escape, for sure. Eugene could be trying to pull the same shit. I mean, you guys think about, can I please go use the bathroom? Or, no, can I please go make a phone call to talk to somebody? And then he just runs and jumps out the window and flies off screen. Like, that is what I think Eugene wants to do. But if he doesn't, I mean, I don't know what he's thinking. He wants a trial. LOL. I just wrote LOL. Because we know what's going to happen. I mean, he's Eugene. He's going to win, and he's going to get everything his way. Easily. So, that was pretty hilarious. I mean, he didn't seem to care about the 10 years, even though I think he should. I think his character should have. I mean, I don't think that his character would have been okay with spending 10 years in prison for something that he doesn't really care much about. And, of course, Lee she doesn't even want to be a lawyer, so when she does this whole trial, I really don't know how it's going to work out. If they did do a season 3, which it does seem like they might do based off of how things are building up in this season, which I would be glad, because I really like the show. I really like the characters. Even their worst episodes are better than, some other TV episodes that have come out as of late. Better Call Saul. Sorry, but that show will never ever be forgiven, ever, for what they did with that show. But luckily, Your Honor is not that show, so congratulations. And then I like the park at the end where they shot this whole scene with Olivia and Michael, where they're talking together, and Michael's like, he's finally going to make a deal with Olivia to do something that she wants him to do. Why? Because of something that really he already kind of knew the whole season a little bit. Like, he's doing it so that she'll help Thea and Rocco. Or, I mean, wait, is it Carlo or Rocco? Isn't it Rocco Carlo? Or, no, isn't it Rocco Adam or something? Like, the baby. He's really concerned about the baby and Thea. And I'm concerned about Thea too. So, I'm glad that Michael and I are on the same page. Anyways, this is a B+ episode. Although I think it's more of a B, honestly. I don't want to seem like I'm being unfair and just, giving everything like a perfect review. And this definitely was a little bit of a strange episode in more ways than one, with some of the logic and the reasoning behind things, and the, just in general being, confused about certain issues that happen in the episode. You never want your audience to be confused. If they're talking about an episode for a week, or if they're talking about a show, you don't want any of that conversation to be, I don't really know what happened with that, or what was that? Why was that? Like, you don't want that. That's not good. So that's why I deducted more points than I would have earlier on in the season when it was building up. So anyways, please like this video, comment, tell me what you thought of Your Honor Season 2, Episode 8, and then please subscribe to our channel if you would like to see more honest reviews about the Your Honor series. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.